forensic scientist here, and in my course we learned a lot about some cold cases, cases that were cold and cases that have gone wrong, where individuals have been wrongly identified. It was also a thing that was on Netflix, if you've ever watched it, forensic cases where someone was wrongly identified or whatever that happened was wrongly put together. So I know of one on Netflix, this might be a touchy subject for individuals, but a woman was raped, and there's also that one in New York, a woman was raped, and those black boys were falsely identified as the individual and coerced by police officers to say that it was them, and then the kids blamed each other because they were young and didn't know what to do, and they were offered a
Is that the one they see us one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, for example,
or something more simpler, someone I know personally was picked up by police from worked at Takeaway, where I'm from, and he was picked up by police, taken to Scotland for a hearing for his case. And when they got there, the solicitor turns around and said, "This isn't my guy, what are you on about?" And they were like, "But his fingerprints match." And they're like, "I'm telling you, it's not him." And he showed him the picture, showed him the name, showed him everything. And then the police literally just went, "Oh, we're sorry," and he had to get home from Scotland on his own.
So, like what he's saying now, obviously, now you have the money, you can make the policy. You've now brought the policy, this is the heading of the policy, and now you can add things onto it. So you've got the money now. I've got an answer to what you can say.
Okay.
I've got one answer.
Okay.
You're right with the forensics, you add forensics. What else would you add to make that perfect? To make that policy
I don't
perfect?
think it could ever be perfect. I think all policies always have a downfall to them.
100%.
I think for improvement, the best thing that I could, I guess, suggest would be training for like police, for example, for what happened with your friend. They should be better trained to identify people or identify the right person, because I feel like that's a problem that they have in the UK in general, just the whole identification process, identifying the wrong person, because they're two black people, they're both Asian, like that shouldn't be an excuse for it. And then I guess in their whole system in general, they have to figure out why that's okay, why the officers are okay with picking up the wrong person and be like, "Oh well, sorry I did it." The sorry isn't enough, because now your friend has had to go from Scotland back to wherever they first was picked up from, no help, no nothing. Like, I feel like if the police officers were dealt with more aggressively when they make mistakes, it would help with them not making the mistakes.
BMT, I hear that still. Now, I didn't put mine, but I'm strong with this, and it's not because I believe in one political party or whatever. I don't really care about these men. They're very, very useless.
Who?
But
Police?
the government. But shout them out still, don't kill me. So, my thing is that I believe the NHS should be privatized.
Alright, now, I agree with you. On a serious note, I've had this discussion with a lot of friends, but one thing I've found is that when you talk about privatization, especially with healthcare, everyone suddenly assumes you're going to do what America does.
Yes.
America have done such the American government and insurance companies have done such horrible stuff when it comes to making healthcare private. Healthcare in America has always been private, but originally it was private on a free market. So for example, you break your arm, they'd be like, "Alright, it was $5 to get the cast, we'll charge you $6.50 so that we can make a profit, we can run the hospital, stuff like that. You know, reasonable price." Insurance companies come along, now obviously this is an oversimplification, so you know, do your own research, look into it yourself to find out the proper details. Insurance companies come along saying, "We want to provide health insurance, you know, you lot can charge a certain price and we'll make it cheaper." The health bodies were like, "We don't charge enough for you lot to give a discount with insurance."
So you're going through 2 months now.
Yeah, so then the insurances came back then, "Why don't you raise the prices by an astronomical amount so that we can then give discounts on those prices, and that way everyone gets massive profit." And they agreed. And then what happened was after that is that the government introduced sanctions and laws that then pushed this even further and made it even more expensive and made it even harder for
And then-
people to afford health insurance.
On that, adding on to that, sanctions and laws, inflation,
Yeah.
taxes, all this